Hello, and a very warm welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays from the Ladies Lounge. It's a good job I didn't have a gin and tonic before I jumped on tonight. Wealthy Wednesdays from the Ladies Lounge, where we have candid, conscious conversations. And I would love to warmly welcome my gorgeous friend, Tiffany Brennan. How are you, Tiff?
I'm very well, Miss Viv Adcock. I'm very happy to be here, as always.
So, what are Wealthy Wednesdays, Tiff? Lead us into it.
Well, Wealthy Wednesdays, basically, we would like to be wealthier, and we would like all of you to be wealthy. And we would like you guys to have the tools and the awareness to be able to move into a different space that allows wealth in all areas of your life. So we thought, what better thing than to offer up a bit of a 10-week adventure. This is week 2, where we come on and just talk a little bit about wealth, wealthiness, richness, money, and, share some insights and awarenesses and tools with you on how we might all get to a different space with this.
Yeah, and the whole thing about wealth is it's whatever wealth is for you, because there is no definition. I think we take a lot of points of view about wealth and what it's supposed to look like or be like, and whether you want it or whether you don't want it, or whether you have judgments about wealth or don't have judgments about wealth, or you want it and you hide it. There's so much there. But for me, wealth is everything in your life. It's the quality of your life. It's how you spend every day and how happy you are, and the choices that you make that expand that wealth, that personal wealth. And it can include money. It's not to exclude it. And that's a topic that we wanted to talk about today, because I think a lot of people, they've separated money from, well, I can be a good person or I can be happy, but I can't have money as well. So let's talk about this separation that we've created with money, and whether it's relevant to any of our audience. So do you want to begin with that, Tiff?
Well, yeah, it's funny because, when you suggested we talk about this afternoon, just after I saw your message, I was just thinking about that. I've spent the afternoon sort of with my head in figures and numbers and tax and that sort of thing for my business, and realized how much I have separated myself from that part of money, because, and also realized in realizing that I actually find a lot of joy in that stuff, in, going through figures and looking at numbers. And I realize when I'm willing to connect with money, even in those ways where, I've deemed those things to be boring or, a bit of a, just a way that I don't really function very well with money, in doing numbers and calculating and looking at figures and all that sort of thing. And then this afternoon I realized, what, I actually do like this. And whose point of view is this about this stuff being boring? This is actually fun for me. And I realize when I do that, how much it generates more awareness and fun and possibilities with money and wealth and business in my life.
And that's a great point, because if you live in Australia, we're coming up to tax time. I've just also received a notification from my tax accountant, who's also a client of mine. How did I get so lucky? How did she get so lucky?
Exactly.
Yeah, that it is that time. It's coming up to, so they're reminding people. And so everything that comes up around paperwork and figures and whether you've made a profit or loss, and oh God, I've got to print all this stuff off and get all these spreadsheets done. But when you look at the energy that you're being with something, that's what creates your relationship with it. So if you have this sense of joy, if you have a sense of, okay, this isn't something that I really enjoy, but what can it create for me by engaging with it rather than avoiding it, or having this kind of repel energy to it? Because I think a lot of people put stuff like this off. They leave it until the last moment unless they're organized and enjoy it. So we wanted to talk about the energies of need lack and desire and requirement, because they create very different things.
So I just want to, we've obviously got a little visitor here with us today. So I also wanted to mention that he's just become a little more wealthy because today he lost his first baby tooth.
Oh, so did the money fairy come?
Not yet, but it literally happened a few hours ago. So,
oh my goodness, look at that.
And I got my new tooth.
He's already got the new one in there as well. So
wow,
I just wanted to share that with you all.
Oh my gosh.
Very cool.
We can see it, darling. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so sorry. Where were we?
Well, the energy of need, because I think a lot of people, when they don't have clarity with their finances or they avoid something, it creates this really clunky energy. And that the more you avoid something, the more that energy builds. It's like it's constantly nagging at you, and it reminds you, and it takes up more energy, and it takes up more energy. And that then feeds need, and not need from a place of desiring or requiring, need from lack, need from fear, or need from scarcity. And again, everything's energy. So if you're functioning from a place of need or lack, the energy is like, trying to put two south poles of a magnet together. It actually repels money away from you, and it creates that separation and that distance where you can't have that joy and, like you're saying, that receiving from it.
Yeah. One of the things that also came up when I was thinking about this idea of, where have you separated yourself from money or separated money from you? And one of the ways I did that in a very big way, quite a long time ago now, and realized it after a while, was that I was making money so much greater than me. And in doing that, I was totally separating myself from money, which makes it way more difficult to have it and for it to show up in your life easily and all of those sorts of things. But one of the ways that I was doing that was by making things that cost a lot of money bigger than my ability to create that or to choose that, So that place where we go, oh, okay, there's the tooth. Those, just wait, darling. Just wait, sweetie. Those places where we go, oh, that's too expensive, I can't afford it. Oh, I would really love to have this in my life, but I can't afford it. Or I would really like to do this, but I can't because I don't have enough money. And, I realized, oh, wow, okay, I'm making money greater than my ability to create, greater than my ability to choose, and realize that it's the choice. It's the choice that creates. It's the choice that creates the possibilities. It's the choice that creates the opening for the money to start to show up in a different way.
Yeah, great point, because this is something that trapped me for many, many, many years of my life. And that turning point, it is literally this massive change in your world when you realize, hang on, is money greater than me, or am I greater than money? Because who's the source? Are you making money the source for your life? It dictates what choices you can and can't have, what you will and won't allow yourself to enjoy. Or do you have that point of, well, I'd really love to have that piece of furniture. I don't have the money right now, but what's it going to take? It's a very different energy, rather than saying no to yourself and cutting off that possibility and separating from how you could create the money for what it is that you desire. So we went to an antique shop last week. I love antiques, and it's a whole other level. And they've got French antique furniture in there. And the piece that we really both fell in love with was worth $17,000. And I'm like, wow, how does it get any better than that? And what would it take to have that in my home and contributing to my world? Because I just absolutely loved it. And if I didn't make it about the price tag, what would I choose? It's like, absolutely, I'd have this piece in the house. It's absolutely stunning. So, it's about not making money or the price tag more relevant or the determining factor for your choice as to what you will and won't allow yourself to have. And this is the critical point for me where everything started to turn around, rather than telling myself constantly I can't afford it. Because if I keep saying that, I'm going to keep creating a lack of money. It's like, well, what would it take for me to be able to afford this? Or I don't have the money right now, and what's it going to take for the money to show up? I'd love to have this.
Yeah. And so, you know, we're talking about this thing of, you know, where are you separating yourself from money and where are you separating yourself from wealth? And, you know, really it's like, how do you change that? And that's this energy of what you're talking about right now, Viv. It's the willingness to allow yourself to dream for what you would like. It's the willingness to allow yourself to have desires that might be greater than your current means or your current perceived means. But, you know, one of the ways you can start to do this is start to look at, okay, so what am I stopping myself from having because I've decided that I can't afford it? And then actively go out and look at those things and allow those things into your world. You know, allow yourself to connect with them. Allow yourself to connect with the possibility of having those things in the future, and recognize that you don't have to have the money right now, but you do have to have the willingness to have it in your life. And once you can start to kind of connect with those things and allow those into your life, into your world, into your space, into your awareness, into your realm of possibilities, then you can just ask, what would it take for me to have this?
And the energy that goes with that is this pull, it's this invitation, it's this desire. It's almost like a lust that is contributing to that thing, whatever it is. And it might not be then and there, it might not be in the next 6 months, but sooner or later, if you keep choosing that and knowing that it's possible and adding the energy of desire to that, rather than I can, what if I could? It starts to change everything in your world. And then the universe will start showing you how it's possible. The money or the doors will open, or the people or the contacts or whatever it is, then start to show up. But you have to be the power, you have to be the source, and acknowledge that first and foremost. And that, like I say, that was the biggest turning point for me, recognizing that.
Yeah. And I think you and I both know that when you first start out with this sort of very different way of being with money and wealth and possibilities of what you can have and be with your future, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, nice idea. And I know it's true, but maybe it's not true for me. But the only way that you're really going to start to see how this works for you is to start and choose it and start playing with it. Because I know for me, you know, some of the things that I, you know, might have asked for or done this with, it didn't show up for 5 years, but then it showed up after 5 years in a way that I didn't even realize until I went, hang on a second, I created this by my willingness to just let it into my world, desire it, and ask for something different, and ask what else is possible.
Yeah, and neither of us were born, you know, into wealth. Neither of us were born into very wealthy and rich and affluent families, but we both had a desire to have something different and greater that was our flavor, our taste, our own reality. So having that clarity as to, well, how do I know what I want? It's like, well, Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, said, have a look around other people's lives or their homes and look at how they live. And is there something in their reality or their home or how they live that really inspires you to reach for something greater? And I remember an aunt and uncle who used to have they didn't have children, so we were kind of like their adopted children, and they had a beautiful home full of antiques. And I can remember being, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 and being fascinated by this beautiful timber furniture that had ornate engravings on them. It wasn't just a square box that was just, you know, perfunctory for your cutlery or your clothes. I just had this draw towards this beautiful furniture, handmade, handcrafted furniture that you don't see very often these days. I don't even know if there are craftsmen out there still making, you know, furniture of that quality. So, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's finding out what you really would like to have as your reality and what you'd like to have around you, and that whatever that wealth is for you.
Yeah.
So
much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, and so something that Tiff and I would love to invite you to join us with is something we did last week. Was we did this rapid fire hot seat where volunteers got to have 10 minutes facilitation on anything that was up for them with money. So we gave them a question. Well, we basically said, if you could ask one question that would change whatever your current situation is, what would it be? And so they came on for 10 minutes and they came in with that one question, and Tiffany and I facilitated them for that time. And the comments we got afterwards, the change that each individual person received was just incredible. And it was just, when we get really clear on our question, when we know something isn't working, but instead of going into trying to think about it and work it out, but you have some facilitation or people ask you questions and pose different possibilities, it opens up a space in your world where this magic that Tiff and I are talking about actually can start to show up for you. So every Wednesday, we're going to be having our Wealthy Wednesday conversation, and we're inviting people to send in what their question is. If you've got an area of your life that you'd like to be wealthier in, whether it's relationships or with your body or with receiving or anything, we're inviting you to fill out a form, which we'll put the link under this Facebook Live today. And if you'd like to be possibly chosen for a hot seat where you get 10 minutes of Tiff and I all to yourself, and it is rapid change. It creates instantaneous change. We would love to be with you and share the tools of access and see what's possible for you with wealth.
Yay. So yeah, as we've said, we will put the link to the form. All you need to do is fill in some of your details and have a look at a question that relates to something that you would like to change or have different in your life. And then if for the brave ones, fill in the form and apply, and we will choose probably just a select few based on who has filled in that form, and have you on with us on one of these Wealthy Wednesdays. So we've got 8 weeks left, I think. And yeah, we're excited to play with those who are brave enough to come on live with us.
And the amazing thing too, it's like, even if you're not in the hot seat, the change is available for every single person in the audience too. So this is the miraculous thing I find about this form of processing, this type of facilitation. It doesn't have to be you in the hot seat, because if whatever's up in your world will be up in somebody else's world, and if they're the one asking the question and brave enough to jump in the hot seat, it's going to create some change for you too, and some lightness and some space to have some movement and different possibilities. So even if you don't want to jump in the hot seat, jump on with us on Wealthy Wednesdays and receive some instantaneous change. How does it get easier than that?
How does it? Wonderful. Thanks so much, Viv, and thank you guys who are with us live. And wait, Silas would like to add something more if he may.
We would like to see his tooth. Look at that.
Put it in there. There you go.
I can see your tooth, Silas. Wow.
Thank you.
That means you're going to be getting big teeth. I can't wait to see your first big tooth.
I've already got a big tooth.
He's already got one. It's all happening.
He's already got one. I have a feeling there'll be more coming, Silas.
I know.
Thanks, Tiffy.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Same time next week. Come and join us, and feel free to share this with your friends and invite them to jump on for Wealthy Wednesdays. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye, Silas.